All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a look at a film that, on paper, should have been a total cringy disaster. But instead, K-Pop Demon Hunters ended up being one of the most surprising animated movies I've seen in a long time. So the real question here is, how can a movie with a script that's, well, pretty broken, still be so fun, so funny, and actually really moving? Is it a flawed masterpiece? Let's figure it out.
So let's start with first impressions, because honestly, they're not great. The whole concept of this film feels like it was specifically designed to make you roll your eyes. It just smashes so many different things together that you can't help but be a little skeptical right from the start. And yeah, this quote just nails that initial feeling, doesn't it? It's the kind of idea that sounds like it came out of a random trend generator. You've got an all-girl K-pop group, okay, and they're also secret demon hunters, and then they have to fight a rival boy band that was created by the Demon King. You can almost picture the marketing meeting, right? It's a premise that sets your expectations incredibly low. So here's the basic rundown of the story, and you can see all the familiar pieces. You've got your heroes, the K-pop group Huntress, and they have this very specific, magical, world-saving job. You've got the super obvious bad guy, the Demon King, with a plan that's almost hilariously straightforward. And of course, you've got the ticking clock, this golden horn moon ritual that's the big finale everything is leading up to. It's basically a battle of the bands, just, with actual demons. And because that setup is so familiar, the story beats feel completely see-through right from the get-go. You can spot the tropes a mile away. Oh, a character's hiding a secret from her best friends? Yep, you just know that's going to lead to a big liar reveal moment later on. Another character has a secret shame that's holding her back? Well, you can bet she's going to overcome that at the most perfect, dramatic moment possible. The story doesn't just use these cliches, it basically screams them at you. You feel like you know exactly where this is all headed from the first few scenes. Okay, but this is where the story about this film takes a really sharp turn. Because despite that predictable, cliche-filled plot, the movie is an absolute blast to watch. It's a classic case of not judging a book by its cover, or, I guess, not judging a film by its seriously questionable premise. The magic isn't in the story it's telling, but in the incredible, energetic way it's told. So the whole thing really boils down to this. It's not what the movie does, it's how it does it. The what is that cliché plot we just covered, but the how, that's where the genius is. The movie is just packed with non-stop visual comedy, with gags that are timed perfectly. The jokes come at you so fast that even if one doesn't land, there are 3 more right behind it. And more importantly, the movie knows it's silly. It leans into all the K-pop fandom tropes with this knowing wink, which makes you feel like you're in on the joke too. Another huge part of what makes it work so well is the visual language of the film. It doesn't just pick one style and stick with it, it actually switches up its whole look to serve the story, creating this really unique and expressive vibe that just keeps you glued to the screen. And you can really see the 2 different modes the film works in right here. For the more grounded, emotional scenes, between the characters, it uses a pretty standard, more subdued 3D art style. It lets the performances breathe. But the second things get crazy with comedy or action, it flips seamlessly into this hyper, zany 2D anime style. And it's not just a gimmick. It's a smart, artistic choice that perfectly matches the tone of every scene, making sure the visuals are always adding to the moment, not distracting from it. And come on, we're talking about a K-pop movie. We have to talk about the music. Look, even if you're not a K-pop fan, the songs in this movie are absolute bangers. They are so catchy, the kind of songs that get stuck in your head for days. But it's more than that. They're woven into the film so well. The action sequences are choreographed perfectly to the beat, turning these big fight scenes into these incredible high-energy music videos. The energy is just infectious. But great comedy, animation, and music, that can only get you so far. So let's talk about what the film builds on top of that. Because the real heart of this movie, the reason it works so well despite its story problems, is its characters. They are, to put it simply, just done so well. This right here highlights something I think is really important. The movie's main characters avoid this huge trap you see in a lot of modern stories. So often, female leads are written to be these perfect, squeaky clean role models, or these flawless superwomen who never mess up. Hunters just throws that out the window. These characters are messy, they're flawed, they make huge mistakes, they have insecurities. Their chemistry feels real, and because they're not perfect, they feel like real people you can actually get behind and root for. And this great character writing isn't just for the main trio, it's for the whole cast. Chanu, the leader of the rival demon band, he's not some one-note villain. He's this morally conflicted guy who manages to be both kind of a douche and also deeply human. Bobby, the band manager, could have been a greedy cliché, but instead he's one of the most wholesome, supportive characters in the whole movie. And then you've got the crow and the tiger who deliver amazing silent comedy and just steal every single scene they're in. And what's crazy is that all of this, the characters, the comedy, the music, it's all serving a surprisingly deep central theme. Underneath all the wild, demon-hunting action, this is a movie about dealing with shame and insecurity, and that little voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough. It's a really relatable and moving look at the internal battles we all face, and it gives the whole goofy story this powerful emotional core. Okay, so we've established the execution is amazing, the characters are great, the themes are powerful, but we have to be honest here. We have to talk about the script. Because for all its strengths, the movie's actual story is full of some pretty big problems, plot holes, and missed chances that really hold it back from being a true masterpiece. All right, let's start with a big one. A huge part of the conflict for the main character, Rumi, is that her voice keeps breaking. It's a physical symptom of her emotional struggle. This is a major plot point. But how it gets resolved is just so lazy. She just gets better. The movie literally has her say, somehow my voice is healed. There's no emotional payoff, no big character moment that earns it. It just feels like a total cheat.
And this next one, oof, this one might be even worse. The movie spends its entire runtime showing us how deep and loving the bond is between the three members of Huntress. They're lifelong best friends. But then, when Rumi's secret demon heritage is revealed, her friends instantly turn on her. They draw their weapons on her. It's a shocking moment, but for all the wrong reasons. It feels completely out of character, and it just blows up the emotional core of their friendship for the sake of cheap drama.
And it's not just specific plot holes. The script is haunted by all these fascinating ideas that it just drops. We find out Rumi's dad was a demon. Who was he? What was his story? We never find out. The movie plays with this really cool idea that the demons aren't actually evil, that they're just victims of the Demon King's manipulation. But then it ends with them all getting sealed away forever anyway. It's such a missed opportunity for a smarter ending, one where maybe music could have brought the two worlds together, instead of just building a bigger wall. And yeah, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The foundation is brilliant, but the story built on top of it is just shaky. All of these problems feel like things that could have been fixed with just one more thorough rewrite, to connect all the dots and really explore the amazing ideas it brings up. So, where does that leave us? We've got this clear contradiction. A movie that is masterfully executed but has a really broken script. A story that is, at the same time, brilliant and a mess. So what do we do with that? Well, this is where it all gets really interesting, because the film's own flaws might actually tie directly into its most important message. Remember that core theme we talked about a minute ago? This is a film about fighting your inner demons, about standing up to that voice in your head that tells you you're a failure, that you're not good enough, that your flaws are all that matter. It's a really powerful and universal message about learning to accept yourself. And this brings us to this really cool final thought. Maybe the film's own flawed nature is a kind of meta-commentary on its own message. It's an imperfect movie that's telling us that imperfection is okay. It's a broken script that's arguing that you can still find beauty and strength in things that are broken. It's almost like the film itself is challenging us. Can we, the audience, accept this movie, flaws and all? Just like the characters have to learn to accept themselves. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. Is it possible for a story's imperfections to actually make its message stronger? K-Pop Demon Hunters is a vibrant, hilarious, and moving film that's also, a bit of a narrative mess. It might not be a perfect movie, but in its own strange, flawed way, it might just be the perfect lesson on the beauty of imperfection itself. What do you think?